In this video we're going to carry on working on our Onshape torch body model, and we're going to add on the features that would allow the switch to be mounted to the torch body. So the first thing we're going to do is, using the right mouse button, just spin our model around once we've loaded it in, and we're just going to right click on this surface and select new sketch, and then we'll press N to view onto the work plane. I'm now going to use the center circle tool, and I'm just going to draw a circle that lines up with the origin and the edge of the right work plane. Click in the middle to start it, and then click again to create the circle. And I'm simply just going to put 2 dimensions on here. I'm going to dimension the diameter of the circle, which is going to be 10.2 millimeters, and I'm going to dimension from this edge here to the center of the circle, and that is 18 millimeters. And I'm just going to move that round slightly and come inside so that we can see it, and we're simply just going to extrude remove to create a hole. So click on the extrude feature, select remove, and we can just simply change the condition up to next, and it will just put a small hole through those 2 surfaces. And that's the first part done. We're now going to add in a pair of lugs that would also locate the switch. And to do that, we're actually going to create a new work plane. So at the moment we can see the front work plane. I'm going to right click on the front work plane, and I'm going to left click on offset plane. Now if I spin that around, you can see at the moment we've got a plane 2 coming in front of that. I actually want it to go behind by 36 millimeters. So I'm going to flip the direction, and you can see that plane 2 has gone behind, and I'm going to change the direction to 36 and click enter. Now you see it's called plane 2, and down here it's called plane 2, but so I know what that is, I'm going to rename it. So click the tick to say I'm happy with it, and then I'm going to right click on plane 2 and rename it, and I'm going to call this switch lug plane, so I know exactly what it's going to do. So I'm now going to create a new sketch on the switch lug plane. So I'm going to right click on the switch lug plane, select new sketch, and then press N to go normal to that. And we're looking down into the torch now. I'm simply going to select the corner rectangle tool, and over here, anywhere over here, I'm just going to drag out a corner rectangle, and then I'm going to dimension it. So I'm going to dimension the far side to the center line, 13 millimeters. I am going to dimension from the very bottom edge here to the bottom of the rectangle, bottom line of the rectangle. I'm going to change that to 2 millimeters, and I'm going to make the rectangle 6 millimeters high and 2 millimeters wide. Once I've done that, I'm just going to move that sideways, and I'm now going to extrude that up to the surface in here. So I'm going to use the extrusion tool, and I'm going to change the direction so that it goes into the torch, and where it says blind, I'm going to select up to next, so you can see it's gone in. But I'm also going to apply a draft angle. So I'm going to click the draft angle, I'm going to change that to 1 degree, and I want it to be drafting outwards so it gets slightly thicker, which you can see it's done automatically. If I click on here to do the opposite direction, you'll see that it narrows. I actually want it to get a little bit wider, so I'm going to leave it how it was, or take it back to how it was, and click the tick. Now I want to mirror this feature on the right work plane, so I'm just going to spin it around so that I can see the right work plane clearly. So I'm going to click on the mirror tool, and I'm going to change from part mirror to feature mirror. Here I'm going to select extrude 11, And then I'm going to click in the mirror plane, and I'm going to click on the right plane. And I can hold the right mouse button down and spin it round, so you can see it's drawn another one in there. And now I'm just going to left click because I'm happy with that. The last thing I need to do is to create a small slot across these. So I'm going to select the end of one of them. I can zoom in if I want to, make it a little bit easier. So right click and then go new sketch, press N to view normal to it. And I'm simply going to use a center rectangle this time. So change the rectangle tool to a center rectangle. I'm going to make sure that my center rectangle lines up with this work plane and is above the origin. And I can just position it approximately to start with. And I'm just going to drag it so that it overlaps the edges of these parts, but it doesn't go into the bodywork over here. And now I'm going to add in some dimensions. So again, I'm going to come from this bottom edge of the inside to the center of the rectangle. And I'm going to make that dimension 5mm, which I did coincidentally. I'm going to make the length of the rectangle 30mm, so I know it's not going to be too long and interfere with the rest of the bodywork. And I'm going to make the height of the rectangle 2mm. And now I'm just going to extrude cut that, or extrude remove 2mm. So feature, extrude, I'm going to remove, I'm going to change that distance to 2. And because I selected remove, it should have automatically changed the direction. You can see it has. Clicked the tick to say I'm happy, and then I'm going to right click and click on zoom to fit. And that's it for this video. We've added in the features that will hold on the switch, so the little slots on these lugs and the hole in the top. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.